episode of Natural is F. Natural is F. This is our show where we talk about holistic health and healing, showing you how to reverse health issues without using the medicines, the herbs, or the remedies. We want you to find a way or that approach to health where you can actually heal your body without having to use poisons, without having to use treatments. But in so doing, you have to become aware of what it takes to be healthy. The first step, Dr. Shelton said in his research, the first step into getting healthy is to remove cause. Well, what's causing your suffering? What's causing a drunk man to be drunk? What's causing your hand to burn on a fiery stove? So the thing is seeking out cause and removing it. So that's the first step. Then the second step is to supply the principles and conditions for health. First, stop the drinking and start eating right and drinking right. Getting more rest, staying away from toxins and toxic people. Keep the will to live. Excuse me. And if you do all that, you'll notice that, your body will go into the process of healing itself. Now, ain't that good news? Good news, I say. And it's natural as F, if you think about it. You can't get no natural than not putting anything in your body except for the conditions and principles that you were born to obey. Your body was created to only breathe in oxygen. And when you go from breathing in all these chemicals, all these concoctions, all these air wicks and air Febrezes and all type of other so-called air pollution that we bring consciously into our environment, when we remove them things out and go back to breathing fresh air, we went natural. Instead of drinking Coca-Colas, teas, and coffees, and all type of other so-called drinks, and we go back to drinking clean distilled water, we went natural. Now, this show is not designed to diagnose disease. It's not designed to treat disease or palliate symptoms. We've partnered with ATR Black Media. And matter of fact, you can go to their website and go there and learn about all things that's relevant in the community today. They're right there on Facebook. They're also on YouTube. Hit like and share. People need to know this information. There's so many people suffering and dying today from so many health issues, and they don't know the answer to it. A lot of people are in doubt and fear that they can even get healthy again. So many people are taking medication, spending all their money on medical treatment that they can't even take care of their families and feed their families. They have no great success in living. Life has actually become a bore, all because they have no knowledge of some simple, basic principles that even a bear knows to keep himself healthy and alive, that a tiger knows to keep himself happy and alive. A snake knows, the ant knows, the bees knows, the squirrel knows. All the animals of nature live by basic instinct, and their instinct is to preserve themselves, and they follow that instinct. Man doesn't follow the natural instincts that drive him. He lost the ability for some reason. The world has created these different habits. Yes, we used to know, and then America happened. Primitive man, he lived natural. That's why he lived long time, and didn't have these dreaded diseases that mankind suffer from now. With the invention of modern medicine, more chronic diseases has appeared on the mainstream. The view of mankind now is seeing more, debilitating diseases, more diseases that are deathly and gruesome. We watch people suffer immensely. Even with their medication is not properly, you'll say, palliating and suppressing their symptoms. They're still living with it. And disease and death, chronic disease, are coming at an alarming earlier and more earlier time, generation by generation. Cancer used to be something that came about in the 80s. A person become 80 something and they are said to develop cancer, or 90 when we were young. But now you see that cancer are taking people out as early as 40, as early as 30. You see more in the 20s getting cancer now. You see babies, they erecting hospitals just for the care of cancer babies and children. Every day you see them up there exploiting for the money to house these kids. Instead of removing the cause and the suffering, they're seeking cures. They're sitting there feeding the children disease with their ice cream and cake and all the so-called delight that they're doing for the kids. If only they knew that they're adding to the problem. All the bright lights, all the big machines that they're investing money into, when all they have to do is feed the children fresh fruits and vegetables. Allow the children to get fresh air and sunlight. Allow the kids to get rest and relaxation and let them exercise, let them do some exercise. Give them a will to live. Then we will see less sickness, less suffering in this world. Teach the parents how to properly eat and get those tablets out of their hands. Yes, get the drugs away from them. Drugs should never be employed as anything. It's not a food. If it's not a food, it's a poison. So drugs, remedies, cures, treatments, tonics, all those things are poisons and should never be entered into the human body. Should never be put into the organism. If we're sick, we seek cause. What's causing me to get sick? Then we remove cause. And then we supply the means towards health. Your house on fire, you put out the fire. And then you start rebuilding. You don't rebuild while fire is still present. Same thing with your health. You can't create health while you still have a raging fire going on in your body. And that raging fire is the bad habits that's producing your aches and pains, your suffering. The way you're eating is constantly irritating your digestive tract. Food is constantly fermenting inside your stomach. Food is rotting, decomposing in your gut because you're eating too often. You're eating too much. And you're eating foods that are not suitable for human digestion. You're even eating your foods in wrong combinations. And you're eating foods when you're stressed. So those foods has no ability to digest properly. And so they sit in your stomach, your digestive tract, and they rot. They putrefy. They decompose. So they become a source of toxins in your body. The body cannot make use of rotted food. So not only are you being poisoned from your food, but you're also starving the body. Because if you're eating foods and your foods never get digested properly and they just sit there and rot in your belly, that means you are starving. You're not getting any food. When do you have a chance to digest anything if everything is rotten? A lot of us are suffering from malnourishment. Even though we're eating 5 square meals a day and we're snacking in between. But those foods are not properly digested. And since they're not properly digested, that means that the body is being neglected on getting the nutrition that it needs for our bodies to repair and regenerate. So we are never properly regenerating. We're not properly renovating our bodies. So our bodies tend to grow old, break down, fail to operate properly because they have not been fixed. They're not getting the vitamins and minerals that they need because the vitamins and minerals are never getting to the cells and tissues because the food is rotten. It's not becoming a source of bone and flesh. So we're starving our bodies and we're poisoning our bodies. We talked about this in one of our earlier shows about the 3 ways to kill a cell. Cells that are in our body, cells everywhere, are said to have eternal life. They possess the ability to go on living indefinitely. But this is only if the environment is congenial for that everlasting life. So that means that the conditions for that cell to continuously live forever must be present at all time. And when those conditions are absent, then that cell must also die and cannot live on. Now, the conditions for the cell, it's only 3 ways that cell will die. And that's through starvation. If you starve that cell, all right. If you poison that cell or some blunt force, so you damage it by hitting things with our bodies. When we eat toxic foods, drink toxic drinks, or allow any other toxins that we breathe in through burning candles and all type of other so-called, I guess whatever we be burning around here, sage and all kind of other stuff. I know some people say, man, but that's how I cleanse out devils and evil spirits and all type of stuff. I'm not judging, not knocking it. However, when we're doing that in closed environments, our lungs don't care what you want to call it. You are irritating them lungs because your lungs have to process the air that you're in. And if your lungs only was designed to breathe in oxygen and to get rid of the carbon dioxide and other gases that are trapped into your body. So this process cannot happen properly if we're breathing other things. If you in an environment that doesn't have any clean air and you're constantly breathing toxic air, you're suffocating yourself. You don't have a connection to fresh air. And this is actually poisoning your body. So I ask you to re-examine the way you look at health. And this is why I'm asking you to reach out and, let somebody know that their body has the ability to heal itself. If they need to know where to look, they can come here to Natural is Health. We're here every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. You got any questions? And thank you for all the comments and those who come up here every week and follow to learn more about natural hygiene. We're here every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. I did want to talk a little bit about, I'm always going to talk about, us not being medical doctors, us not being herbalists or anything like that. So nothing in our teachings will, be about, what's the best herb to take or how can you better get help from your medications. We don't believe in cures and remedies here on Natural is Health. We believe that the remedy is you removing the cause. You remove the cause, and the body will remedy its own issues. And sometimes the cough, your disease, is your remedy. That diarrhea, it remedies a fermented, rotting digestive tract. How do you remedy, a bug that flies in your throat? You have to cough it up. So the coughing remedies a blocked bronchial when it has been, congested. It helps free that congestion. So you don't want to suppress the cough. You don't want to suppress the diarrhea. You want to allow them to run their course. Once those symptoms allow the poisons out of the body, once that cough up all the poisons out of the body, once that diarrhea all the waste out of the digestive tract, the diarrhea stops. The coughing stops. So once the poisons, once the decaying matter is removed from the body, the so-called side effects or the symptoms disappear. So the body is using those so-called symptoms of disease to free itself of poison. And if we meddle with the body during that time by stopping the cough, stopping the diarrhea, breaking the fever, stopping the inflammation, all those symptoms of healing, those are symptoms of the body healing itself. When we interfere with that, then the body doesn't heal itself. And so those toxins that the body was throwing off, or that area that the body was trying to fix, because the inflammation is where your body is trying to do work of healing. It's inflamed. You got a bunch of fluid, blood in that area trying to heal. So you got swelling and all type of stuff. But when you take medication or do anything to bring down the swelling and to stop the inflammation, then how is that area is going to get healed? It doesn't have no blood there. And that area need blood to heal that wounded part. Inside the blood is all the material in which to repair that body part that has been damaged. So we have to stop looking at disease as some type of foe and look at it as more of a friend. All right. So the cough is there to free your body of waste. Is that bad or is that good? Is that a friend or is that a foe? That diarrhea is trying to stop you from dying of internal poison. So anything fermenting and rotting inside of you, it forcefully pushes it out. So does the vomit. So does the eruption from the skin. So does the draining from the nose, the eyes, the ears. All those is your body trying to free itself of accumulated waste. Now, is that a friend or is that a foe? If those toxins were to stay in your body, you could possibly die instantly, quickly. But since the body found ways to remove those poisons, it allowed the body to continuously survive. Now, is that a friend or a foe? So the body, when it does the work of healing itself or protecting itself or correcting itself or regenerating itself or defending itself or whatever itself, that is right action. That action should not be interrupted with any type of medicine, with any type of herbs, any type of remedies, or any type of so-called healing modalities. All modalities that interfere with the metabolism of the human body is destructive and should be stopped and never used again. I know some people would be upset with me. They make plenty of money from their remedies, from offering their cures, their concoctions, their tonics. They make big bucks. The pharmacist, you make good money. The medical doctor, you make great money. All because they have drugs. They give you drugs, the so-called stop issues of your bad habits, or cover them up. They help you go back to your bad habits in some cases. You go to complaining about you know, can't eat the certain foods that you're used to eating. And he tell you, I'll have you back to eating those foods by dinner time. You take this pill and you'll be able to eat those foods without having any distress. That's not wise. But nevertheless, we continuously taking those pills until our digestive tract burns a hole in itself. Now we got ulcers. Those ulcers turn into degeneration and hardening in our digestive tract. Cancer. All because we did not do anything to listen to the first cries of upset stomach, of diarrhea, and bouts of constipation, the little pains that we were feeling. We didn't pay attention to that. And when we did suffer those things, we suppressed them with pills and potions. So the condition in the stomach continued. And we've added more damage there because we continued the bad habit that produced it, eating those foods. So now our body is now suffering even more. The healing in our body, how can it happen? This is why I'm telling you, it's very important to learn natural hygiene. That's the modality that we teach. And you come here to Natural is F every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. We're going to be teaching it to you. Now, before we go, I'm going to be talking a little bit about some ingredients. Because a lot of us, we eat foods and we don't find ingredients. Now, if you're on a wholesome fruit and vegetable diet, you don't have to worry about ingredients because there's no ingredients on the apple. You don't have to look for and read the ingredients on the apple. And neither do you have to look for the ingredients on a pear or turn a watermelon on the side to see what the ingredients is on that. You see what I'm coming from? So you never have to do that with fresh fruits and vegetables. And if you're on that type of eating pattern, you're doing wonderful. But the majority of mankind today knows nothing about a wholesome fresh fruit and vegetable diet, a raw, uncooked, fresh eating. They don't believe that that's the proper way to eat. They believe that the proper way to eat is a home cooked meal. They don't believe that they can survive. I had a young man that I was talking to today, and I asked him, did he go to this vegan restaurant called Hungry Vegan here in Savannah? I said, hey, have you ever heard of it? You know, I'd rather an individual to eat a raw fruit vegetable diet, but if I can wean a person away from eating, you know, greasy fried chicken from Popeyes or, you know, Church's or KFC, or if I can get them away from the you know, the unhealthy burgers and stuff from McDonald's or Burger King, Wendy's or Arby's, or if I can get them away from those toxic meals and get them to eating, it could still be maybe prepared somewhat like, you know, with seasoning and fried and stuff, but it's a vegetable. So it's like weaning them off one thing to still give them a little taste, and then we'll take them to another step later. So I was taking them to this spot called Hungry Vegan, and they do vegan food. Their vegan food is still cooked, though. It's not like a raw vegan restaurant, but nonetheless, it's vegan. They have a wide assortment of vegetables. You know, they do have carbs like rice, potatoes, bread, but they have vegetables to complement those starches. And I asked him, I said, and this is some of the stuff they have. They have cabbage, They have collard greens. They have string beans, corn, okra tomato soup. They have zucchini, squash. They have all kind of different, vegetables that is right there available. And I asked the guy, I said, have you heard of Hungry Vegan? And he was like, no, and I'm not going to go there. I was like, why not? It's a nice little restaurant. You should try it. They got, some really tasty, good food that you eat all day, every day. He talking about, no, I'm a carnivore. There's no way that I can go and eat at a place called Hungry Vegan because I'm a carnivore. I eat meat. I said, that's fine. I said, it's nothing wrong with you eating meat, but let me ask you this: one meal once a month can't be without meat. Like, you got to eat meat at every meal. Like, even when you eat ice cream, when you eat cookies and you eat tater chips, do you have to have a piece of meat with those meals? Like, why, when I say go to Hungry Vegan, why can't you go to one place and eat a meal? Because you say you don't eat vegan food. Now, vegan food is rice. Vegan food is potatoes. Vegan food is cabbage, collards, string beans. They got lima beans and different foods. Now, I don't say that those are the best foods ideal according to the natural hygienic diet, but I'm saying it's a transition diet. And what I'm showing a lot of people is that thought of going without meat. When you're eating all this type of food that you say is vegan food, you eat that now, you just eat it with a piece of meat. And if you just remove the meat away from the plate, you still got rice, you still got cabbage, you still got broccoli, you still got zucchini, you still got cauliflower, you still got asparagus, you still got all these different foods. You got bread, you still got, mashed potatoes, baked potatoes. So you still got all these different foods that you eat. It's not like you just eat a plate of steak and bacon and oxtails. That's not how your plate looks. That's a true carnivore. I'm a carnivore. Are you truly? Do you actually sit there and lap at the blood of an animal, eat the cartilage and all type of stuff, eat at the organs and eat the ligaments and all type of stuff? Well, if you eating McDonald's chicken fingers, chicken nuggets, then yes, you're eating the ligaments and all type of other stuff. So yeah, it's terrible to think so. But the thing is, eating a vegan lifestyle may help you not suffer so many of the health issues that you're suffering from now. If you can just supplement one meal a day to a vegan meal, now if you can supplement one of those meals to a raw vegan meal or all fruit meal, like say for example, you wake up in the morning and your first meal of the day is a meal of nothing but fruit. Just pick one fruit and eat as much of that fruit as you want. And that's ideal. And then your next meal of the day could be, a nice big salad. That's ideal. And then your last meal of the day could be a steamed vegetable plus some rice plus baked potato. All right? You can actually do you 2 steamed vegetables and some rice. Do you some cabbage, rice, and some broccoli. Do you some, collard greens, rice, and some asparagus, or some Brussels sprouts, or some okra. Yeah, it's up to you. Sky's the limit on how many variations you can do with vegetables. But I want you to think about some of the ingredients in foods that we're eating in these restaurants. You'll be surprised to what we're actually having in these restaurants. All right. Now, Like how I was just talking about a few minutes ago about McDonald chicken nuggets. A lot of us know that those chicken nuggets are the leftover of when chickens are stripped of all their meat, and it's left there with just that carcass, that bone, and you have the leftover meat and little ligaments and different stuff, and it sends it through this deboner, where they actually strip the rest of all the stuff that's left on the bone off, and they turn it into this slimy pink stuff. And the slimy pink stuff got a bunch of blood and all type of other stuff in it, but then they bleach it and they turn it back into all white meat. Notice that they got all white meat at these places now. That's because they're bleaching it. They're bleaching the dark meat or the colored meat, the red meat, and all type of other colors that come from the way that they, process this meat, and they bleach it, and so now you got all white meat. They add all these flavors and additives into them to get you to think that you're eating some good, delicious meat. But these natural flavors and these artificial flavors, natural flavors are where they actually use natural products to enhance the flavor or give flavor to food. Artificial flavors is when they use chemical derivatives to mimic the taste of food. So you artificially have this taste. Now, all the stuff you see when you start looking at the ingredients on the back of these things when you go in the store. But a lot of us don't realize that we don't have to just go to a grocery store to look at the ingredients in our food. When we go to these restaurants, they too have ingredients on them. Even our French fries from McDonald's has ingredients. And if we look up the ingredients of McDonald's French fries, we're not going into the other stuff just yet. But let's look and see what's in those French fries. When we look into McDonald's French fries, all right, and you can look at this and you can actually go to the website for McDonald's.com, their own website, and go and look at the allergen information. The allergen information for McDonald's French fries. The ingredients, it says potatoes. All right. We know that it's French fries. They use vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil, hydrogenated soybean oil, and natural beef flavor, wheat and milk derivatives. Listen to that. Dextrose, sodium acid, pyrophosphate to maintain color, salt, and then again here it says natural beef flavor, contains hydrolyzed wheat and hydrolyzed milk as starting ingredients. So you got French fries that a lot of vegans are thinking that they can go and eat, and they're thinking that they're eating French fries. And here it is, it's flavored with beef, some type of natural beef flavor. It even have milk in it, hydrolyzed milk product. In a French fry now. How is this? If they're saying it's a freshly cut potato and they just fry it and throw some salt on it. For some reason, that's not it. Me and my wife was talking, and she was saying, I imagine that they just, ball the potato and mash it, and then actually put it into shapes, put it into the French fry shape. Like they got mold but before they mold these French fries into shape, they use the mashed potatoes and put all these different flavors in there, and all these different additives and preservatives and all type of other colorings and all type of stuff inside this big batch of mashed potatoes that they have, and then they go and start putting them in molds and fry them up, and you get this string of new potatoes. So here it is, they're manufacturing or processing also the French fry. You're not eating potatoes, people. So these are not natural. I noticed that we were laughing as we were talking about this the other night. We was talking about how Wendy's had to come out, because we used to wonder why Wendy's was saying, well, we got natural cut fries. They were advertising that our fries are natural cut, not like everybody else. So if your fries are natural and natural cut, what is this other stuff that's out here? All these other restaurants that selling French fries, what are they selling? They're not naturally cut. What's going on? So they're naturally processed. That's where we're getting this process from. Even you go to, I'll tell you something that you might want to check out too. You got a lot of vegans and people who are trying to stay away from allergens. You got to study where these allergies might come from. So these restaurants must put up what's in their ingredients. And you go to Popeyes and go get you some red beans and rice, and you don't know if you got a fish allergy. It's fish in there. It's in the ingredients. Didn't know that, did you? Now, why they need fish in the red beans and rice? And where is this fish located in the red beans and rice? I know the Asian people use a lot of fish in their sauces. You can get a noodle, and if you're not paying attention to it, the actual vegetables in there have some type of fish in it. The seasoning packet have some type of fish in it. And it might be a vegetable noodle, oriental noodle. You won't be suspecting that it have actually still some type of fish product or a meat product, an animal product in your food. So you have to make sure that you're reading more detail into these ingredients. You see that some of these ingredients have stuff like xanthium gum, have ascorbic acid, and all these different MSG, and all these other so-called preservatives, flavor enhancers. All these different things are being put into our food to keep us addicted and stimulated on the food. If a food need to be enhanced for you to eat it, then obviously we shouldn't be eating that. If it's not naturally tasteful, naturally good to our sight, to our taste, and to our smell, we shouldn't be eating it in the first beginning. If it is toxic, smell terrible, then obviously the body is telling you to stay away from it. Don't ingest it. It's pungent. The body tells you, no, I don't want it. But you cover and mask the taste, just like back in the days when we used to get poisoned with our so-called, the stuff they used to give us. It's this liquid. I can't think of it for some reason. But we used to take it so much, and they used to put it with it's not cod liver oil, castor oil, castor oil. Yes, yes, yes. I know it was gonna come to me sooner or later, but we used to be on castor oil all the time. They said it was for cleaning out and to grease us up and all type of stuff. But the castor oil used to be so nasty, and my brothers and sisters, when our father used to give it to us, man, as soon as it would go in our mouth, we would be ready to go throw that mess up. I mean, even thinking about the castor oil had about the, just vomit all over the place. And we vomited many times behind taking the so-called castor oil. To mask that taste, though, that taste was unbearable of that, putting that castor oil in our bodies. And that's a way that our body is telling us that it's not ideal. Poisons never taste good. Only when you do the poison over and over and you become addicted to that poison, do it start having a pleasing taste, an addictive taste, in other words. Never really pleasing. It's just an addictive taste that we crave over and over and over. It's like we're craving that stimulation. It's not a favorable one, but it's just one that we've done learned to have. It's a habit now. And we satisfy that habit. So the ideal is to start looking at these ingredients. We have another one where you have the French fries from Burger King, potatoes, soybean oil, canola and palm oil, modified potato starch, rice flour, potato dextrin, salt, leavening, disodium, dihydrogen, pyrophosphate, sodium bicarbonate, dextrose, xanthan gum, sodium acid, prophosphate added to preserve natural color. Now here again, that's a lot of stuff just for some French fries, people. Come on now. How much? What do you need when you're at the house and you're fixing you some French fries? You get you some potatoes, some old russet potatoes, some old gold potatoes, or whatever, and you chop them. You wash off that potato, you dry off that potato, and you cut that potato into some strings, and you drop it in some grease. You put it on some napkin to get some of that grease off there, and you throw a little salt on that boy. And you got you some good old crispy, crunchy French fries. You didn't need no rice flour, modified potato starch, potato dextrin. You didn't need no leavening. You didn't need no dihydrogen pyrophosphate, no sodium bicarbonate. You didn't need no dextrose. You didn't need no xanthan gum. And a lot of us don't know what xanthan gum is. Xanthan gum is a common ingredient added to foods, including sauces and salads and dressing, but it's derived from the same bacteria found in rotten vegetables. Xanthan gum is derived from rotten vegetables. That's what they're putting into our food. Some bacteria that is found rotting on rotten vegetable. Oh, bacteria that is found on rotten vegetables is what we're eating as a preservative in our food. Wow. It's actually a stabilizer. Supposed to stabilize how oil and the ingredients in like salad dressing where it can mix and not be separating so much. So it's like a stabilizer. And Checkers fries, you got all kind of stuff. You got wheat, milk, potatoes, vegetable oil, uh, palm oil, and milk is like the second ingredient in the ingredient for Checkers French fries. So a lot of us don't know where our allergies are coming from. We're suffering from so much of sinus issues. We're suffering from swelling out throughout our bodies. And, a lot of us are, allergic to, lactose intolerant, allergic to milk products and stuff like that. And we don't realize it's hidden in a lot of our foods that we're consuming. We don't have to think that, I can eat some French fries. Who to think milk is in French fries? Who to think you got some beef flavor, some beef baby back ribs inside your French fries, unless you go to, the Rib Shack and get them to make you a loaded French fry basket with, loaded meat and all type of other stuff on the French fry. But to say that the actual French fry is loaded with a beef flavor, it's like you inject beef flavor into a potato. You injecting meat, milk, and all type of other ingredients, and you whipping up and turning out French fries. But you're not telling people that. People think they're eating potatoes and salt, potato and seasonings when they're going to these fast food restaurants. So a lot of our issues that we're suffering from is because of the hidden ingredients in our food. Our food still look the same. When you look at the French fry, you bet they're like, that's a French fry. How in the world they got 80 different ingredients in this French fry? Look like a potato. Man, they got some machines that's powerful at creating. Them folks done study how the art of food manufacturing. And these corporations are mass producing Frankenstein food. We call it Frankenstein food. Because it's not real food. Scary food, man. You know what you eating? All these different ingredients. Words that you cannot even pronounce. Things coming from bugs. Dead bugs. Rotten vegetables and bacteria and all type of things like that. So a lot of our allergies, our diseases is the result of the hidden ingredients in the foods that we're eating. So it takes for us not only to go into our grocery stores and read the ingredients that's on those things, because some of us don't even read the ingredients when we go in the grocery store. It would be good if you would go down the aisle that has no ingredients. Notice that all fruits and vegetables are ingredients. Bell peppers in your I'm gonna say onions because it's not an ideal thing to be consuming either. But you use the vegetables and fruits to create something. They use celery, they use your onions, you use your bell peppers, your carrots and stuff to season up food, to make foods taste, they enhance your they put up with your meats and stuff like that when they're cooking. They stuff different meats with different vegetables and stuff. So they become the ingredients. But when you start putting all these chemical concoctions and all these preservatives, these things have no way to get out of your body. Because see, you're ingesting these poisons. That xanthan gum, that ascorbic acid, the MSG, all these other so-called additives and preservatives, it preserves the food. It stops the food from rotting. All right. So it makes it, the only way you can stop something from dying is to go ahead and kill it. You see what I'm coming from? So you mummify something. Preserving it is to mummify it. You don't let it break down. And if we got cells and tissues in our body that are mummified from the poisons that we're putting in our body, then those cells and tissues cannot be replaced with new cells and tissues. Did you hear what I say? So the whole objective for you to constantly regenerate your body and not go through those 3 ways of destroying your cells and tissue, you have to stop poisoning yourself. You have to stop starving yourself and stop damaging yourself with your lifestyle habits. Change your lifestyle. Change it from an unhealthy lifestyle to a healthy lifestyle. This has been another show on Natural is Health, and we thank you for joining in every week. We hope that what we're saying to you invoke an awareness to help you live a more healthier lifestyle. Because when mankind start living a more healthier lifestyle, it will create more health into the world. You know, as man start feeling better, start living longer, start living healthier, not suffering these diseases, mankind is most likely going to start loving one another more, you know, mentally, spiritually. Because if you're physically being healthy, you know, it spills over into your mental. You know, when you're not feeling good in your body, you tend to not feel good in your mind or in your spirit. So if we can't raise your spirit where you can have a better mental and then create a better physical, maybe we can go ahead and get your physical right, where you can start thinking better and raise your spirit. So we can just do it backwards. We can go from any point. If we can raise your mental, we can possibly, you know, change the way your physical is. If we can change your mind about the way you live and the habits that you have and all type of stuff, the way you look at disease. If I can change your mindset, you know, raise your mind. It can also bring your spirits up, knowing that your body can heal. You don't have to suffer that sickness. You don't have to die prematurely. Some people are in fear of their sickness. Doctors scaring them to death about they're going to die from this or that. A couple of months to live here, a couple of years to live there. Scaring them to death. When those same people can just change and modify their lifestyle, remove cause and supply the means for health, and they can live in just as long as everyone else. Outlive that doctor who gave them the death sentence. It's been done, and it's being done. So I thank you for joining in. Have a good week. I love you, and I'll see you here next week, Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Best of health and happiness from Savannah Natural Health, your health coach, Dr. Ferrante Frazier.